There's something you're doing right now that makes people see you as weak. You say something in a group, and no one reacts. Then someone else says the same thing, and suddenly everyone listens. That difference, it's not confidence. It's not luck. Here's what's actually happening. You think you're being calm, reasonable, easy to deal with. But to them, you look easy to dismiss. And the worst part, you're doing it before you even open your mouth. It's not your words. It's not your tone. It's a psychological posture you're broadcasting constantly without realizing it. And once someone reads that signal, they don't just treat you differently. They keep treating you that way. That's why they talk over you. That's why they don't respond. That's why your words don't land, even when you're right. If you haven't noticed it yet, you will after this. Subscribe, because once you see the first real issue, you'll realize you've been doing it this whole time. The first real issue, you remove all risk from yourself. Not in obvious ways. In small moments, where something should shift, and you make sure it doesn't. Watch this. You send a message. You can tell the tone is off. Short reply. Delayed. Something changed. So you adjust. You soften your next message. Add a little explanation. Make it easier for them to respond. You remove the friction, and they leave it on read. That wasn't random. You just trained them that there's no pressure to meet you halfway, because you'll do it for them. That's what removing risk looks like. You absorb the awkwardness. You adjust first. You make it easier every time something feels off, so people stop correcting themselves. They let you do it, and the moment that pattern sets in, you're no longer someone they engage with. You're someone they manage. Predictable, adjustable, safe to deprioritize. Because nothing changes, no matter how they show up. Epictetus put it bluntly, a ship should not ride on a single anchor. Because if everything about you stays fixed, you don't hold position, you drift, and people feel that. So this isn't about being nice. It's about being low risk, no tension, no uncertainty, no consequence. And when there's no consequence, there's no reason to take you seriously. But here's where it gets worse, because removing risk doesn't just make you easier to ignore. It creates a signal people start testing. And the moment they test it, you either shut it down, or you confirm exactly how far they can go with you. Number 2, you don't create consequences. And this is where it breaks. Because once people feel there's no risk, they don't just ignore you, they start testing you. Not in obvious ways, in small moments that are easy to overlook. You're making plans with someone. They cancel last minute. No explanation. Just something came up. You see it. You know it's off. But you say, no worries. And you mean it. On the surface. But something already shifted. Because now they know. There's no cost. Respect doesn't disappear all at once. It erodes the moment bad behavior has no consequence. So next time, they cancel again. Later, shorter notice, less effort, and you adjust again. That's not coincidence. That's permission. When you notice a line and do nothing, you don't maintain peace. You lower the standard, and people meet it instantly. At that point, it's not perception anymore. It's your environment. and it's starting to collapse around what you tolerate. You've seen this before. Plans shift without you. Decisions happen around you. Your present stops influencing anything. Not because you don't see it, because nothing happens when you do. Be honest. What's one situation where you knew someone crossed a line and you did nothing? Not what they did, what you let happen. Drop it in the comments. Number 3, you build a pattern of non-delivery. And this is another way you signal weakness. You say things, and you don't follow through. Not once, repeatedly, in ways you barely notice. Watch how subtle this is. You tell someone, "I'll send it over." You fully intend to. Time passes. You forget. You come back later like nothing happened. No acknowledgement. No correction. You just continue the conversation. That right there? That makes you look weak. Because your words don't carry weight. They don't create expectation. They don't mean anything people have to take seriously. So people adjust. They stop relying on you. They stop factoring you in. They stop expecting anything from you at all. Respect isn't lost in one failure. It's lost in patterns. Small breaks that repeat just enough for people to downgrade you quietly. At this point, you're not just easy to ignore. You're easy to replace. Because consistency is what people trust. And you've shown them they can't. And once that pattern sets in, people don't just see weakness, they expect it. Before you even say anything. But here's where it turns against you. Because when you start noticing that shift, you don't fix the pattern. You try to protect how you're seen. You start adjusting your behavior to look unaffected. And that is what locks the weakness in permanently. Number 4, you make yourself too available. You saw the message and replied instantly. You didn't think about it. You just did it. Even though you were in the middle of something. Even though it could have waited. You answered anyway. Now watch what happens next. They take longer to respond. Not intentionally. Just naturally. Because there's no urgency on their side. You feel that difference. Slightly. You don't react to it, but you notice it. That's the moment. Not when you replied. When it became expected. You removed the gap. So now, there's nothing to miss. Nothing to wait for. Nothing to value. You're always there. So your presence doesn't register. It blends in, like background noise. They don't think, I should respond. They think, I'll get to it. There's a reason for that. What's always available loses its weight. Not because it changed, because nothing is required to reach it. And you've made yourself that easy. Always reachable, always responsive, always there, regardless of how you're treated. So now, they don't adjust to you. You adjust to them. And the moment you feel that imbalance, you try to correct it. Not directly. You just change slightly. Slower replies. Shorter responses. A little distance. But it doesn't land the way you think. Number 5. You answer questions no one asked. You can feel it's off. So you try to get ahead of it. Not by fixing anything, by explaining. You say something simple, then add more. Why you did it. What you meant. What you didn't mean. No one asked. But you say it anyway. And it feels like clarity. But it doesn't land like that. It lands like you're bracing for something. Like you're expecting to be questioned, before anyone even does. So now, people don't just hear what you're saying, they hear what you're trying to protect. And that changes everything. Because confident people don't rush to explain, they wait to be misunderstood. You don't. You're not being clear. You're revealing insecurity before pressure even exists. Even Seneca pointed at this in a different way. That constant need to stay ahead, to stay busy explaining, is what pulls you away from control in the first place. You're reacting before anything happens. And once people feel that, they don't press you. They don't challenge you. They don't even need to, because you've already done it to yourself. You answered the question before it existed. If that felt a little too familiar, that's not random. Like the video, and send it to someone who needs to hear this, before they keep explaining things no one asked for. Number 6. You leak your internal state constantly. Right there. You just did it. No one said anything, but your face changed. You felt something shift, and it showed. You think people miss that. They don't. You're talking to someone. They hesitate before responding. Just a second longer than normal. And you feel it. Your tone softens. Your posture adjusts. You start adding more before they even say anything. That moment, that makes you look weak, because you're not controlling what you show. You're broadcasting it. Every reaction, every shift, every bit of doubt leaks out. And people read it instantly, so they don't need to test you anymore. They already know where you hesitate, where you fold, where you're unsure. You don't speak confidence. You leak doubt. At this point, it's not about what you say, or what you allow, or what you follow through on. It's visible, before anything even happens. You walk into a conversation, and people can already feel your limits. And once they see that, they don't hold back. Number 7, you try to control what you haven't earned. And then you do something that makes it worse. You try to take control. Not because you have it, because you can feel you don't. So you tighten up. Your tone gets firmer. Your words get sharper. You try to sound certain. But it doesn't land. You're in a conversation. You can feel people drifting. So you interrupt. Let me be clear. And then you start laying things out. How it should be done. What makes sense. What people need to understand. But no one asked. No one pushed back. Nothing required that level of control. That's not leadership. That's exposure. Because control without credibility looks like desperation. Now, you don't just look weak. You look insecure, performative, fragile. Think about how it feels from the outside. Someone who hasn't earned influence, trying to direct everything anyway, trying to shape reactions, trying to steer the moment, without any weight behind it. It doesn't create respect. It creates resistance. Because by this point, people have already seen you avoid pressure. You allow things to slide. You don't follow through. You reveal everything too early. So when you suddenly try to control the situation, it doesn't feel like authority. It feels like you're trying to fix how you're being seen. And that's when it locks in. Not just that you look weak, but that you're aware of it and still can't change it. None of this is random. It looks like different mistakes, but it's the same pattern. You're not consistent with yourself. One day, something bothers you. You notice it. You feel it. You almost say something. Next time, same situation, you let it go. You're around one person. You're direct, clear, decisive. Same you, different room. You soften. You adjust. You second guess. Nothing external changed, but your standard did. That's the problem. Your behavior isn't stable. It shifts based on pressure. So people can't take you seriously because they don't know which version of you they're dealing with. People don't respect inconsistency. They ignore it. Zeno of Citium warned about this. The fastest way to lose clarity is to lie to yourself about who you are in the moment. And that's what this is. You adjust, then justify it. So now, you're not just seen as weak. You're seen as unreliable. Your words don't hold. Your reactions don't stick. Your standards don't last. And people don't build respect around that. They work around it. Because here's what's actually happening. People aren't analyzing you. They're not thinking about you that deeply. They're pattern matching you. Every interaction, they're asking one question, not out loud, but automatically. What happens when pressure hits? Do you hold your ground? Do you follow through? Do you stay the same person, or do you adjust? And once they see the pattern, they stop testing it. They just use it. That's where real control comes from. Not performance. Not sounding confident. Not explaining more. Control is staying the same under pressure. Because that's the only thing people can't manipulate. So this was never about acting stronger. It was about removing what exposes you. The overexplaining. The adjusting. The inconsistency. The need to be easy to deal with. All the small things that quietly tell people there's no consequence here. And once that pattern disappears, everything changes. People didn't decide you're weak. They just stopped seeing any reason to treat you otherwise. Now that you can see the patterns that make people lose respect, the next video on your screen shows you exactly how to reverse them. Watch that next. And if you're serious about this, subscribe and go through the full playlist.